Okay, let's unpack this. The world of artificial intelligence, right? It feels like, I don't know, just yesterday that computers thinking like humans was.
Yeah.
Well, pure science fiction. And now we're using incredibly powerful tools like ChatGPT, like Gemini, practically every single day. The speed is just, it's breathtaking, honestly.
It really is. What's truly remarkable, I think, is that tangible shift we've all seen not that long ago. The idea of AI writing coherent text or making realistic images, that felt pretty distant for most people. Now these things are, baked into everyday apps, writing emails, creating pictures, all sorts.
Exactly. Which inevitably brings us to the huge question, on a lot of minds, yours too probably, could AI actually get to human-level intelligence really soon? And when we say soon, we're not talking decades away.
Well, that immediately brings up a really fundamental question, doesn't it? What do we even mean by human-level intelligence? The term we often hear thrown around here is AGI, artificial general intelligence. It's a concept with some interesting layers.
Right, AGI.
Yeah.
And maybe for anyone who hasn't bumped into that term before, the core idea is, well, an AI system that can do pretty much any cognitive task a human can. We mean reasoning, solving problems, creativity, understanding really complex ideas, and, a certain level of autonomy. It's not just being good at one specific task.
Exactly. And this idea that it could be within reach relatively soon, it isn't just theoretical musing. There's a scenario that's been getting some attention known as AI 2027.
AI 2027. Okay, that sounds pretty specific. Who's behind that idea?
So the AI 2027 scenario, it comes from analysis by some former researchers from OpenAI and also the Center for AI Policy. Based on their read of current trends, where things are heading, they're suggesting we could potentially see AGI emerge as early as 2027.
Wow.
Yeah, that's just a couple of years from now.
2027.
Yeah.
That is, yeah, that's a timeline that definitely makes you sit up and pay attention.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, this isn't just one isolated prediction, is it?
No, not at all. Actually, earlier this year, back in March 2025, Dario Amodei,
CEO of Anthropic.
that's the one, yeah. Anthropic, another major AI research lab. He also suggested a similar sort of time frame for when AGI might arrive. So you've got these prominent people in the field kind of converging on this, relatively short-term possibility.
Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting for me. Because, okay, the algorithms, the AI smarts, they've been stunning. But I've been reading about a potential snag, a bottleneck maybe, when it comes to the actual hardware needed to run these massive models.
That's a really critical point, and yeah, often overlooked when people focus just on the software side. The development of these increasingly sophisticated AIs, like, say, the much-anticipated GPT 4.5, it demands just enormous amounts of computing power. And right now, that relies very heavily on these specialized chips, GPUs.
Graphics processing units, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there are reports indicating a pretty significant shortage of these high-end GPUs. This is actually acting as a real, tangible brake on how fast these models can be developed and rolled out. I mean, the sheer scale we're talking about. These next-gen models, trillions of parameters. It needs computing power that current GPU production just, can't fully keep up with.
So it's this fascinating push and pull, isn't it? You've got these incredibly clever algorithms being dreamed up, but the physical stuff, the infrastructure, is still a fundamental limit on how fast we can actually go. It's kind of a reminder that progress isn't just happening in the code.
Precisely. That relationship between the theoretical jumps in AI and the practical limits of our current tech, it's a constant dynamic. It's not unlike, other fields where amazing ideas might be held back for a bit by the tools or materials available at the time.
Okay, so let's game this out a bit. Let's imagine we do hit this AI 2027 scenario, or, something in that ballpark. What kind of, seismic shifts could we expect, especially thinking about work, the economy?
Yeah, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the arrival of AGI, assuming it happens, has the potential to be truly transformative for the global economy, for the very nature of work itself. And we're already seeing quite a range of views on just how big that initial disruption might be.
Right. We've got some pretty big names weighing in. Bill Gates, for instance, he's been quite vocal, hasn't he?
Yes, Gates has talked about a vision where AI could lead to really significant automation across sectors like manufacturing, logistics, even agriculture, potentially taking over many tasks humans do now. He sees AI handling increasingly complex physical jobs and decision-making within those industries.
That definitely paints a picture of some pretty major shifts in the job market. But then you hear other takes, like from Sam Altman, suggesting maybe a less dramatic immediate impact.
Altman's offered a more nuanced view, yeah. He suggested the initial societal impact of AGI might actually be surprisingly small. His thinking seems to be that integrating such a powerful new thing into existing economic, social structures, it might just take more time than some people think. Different adoption curves, societal adjustments needed.
It's a really interesting contrast, isn't it? This possibility of huge job displacement in some areas versus the idea that maybe the initial changes are more gradual and moving beyond just the immediate work impact. That AI 2027 scenario
Yeah.
also flags some wider issues, right? Especially when we talk about AI at human level.
Absolutely. What's particularly thought-provoking is the discussion around the potential broader implications. The AI 2027 paper touches on this possibility of a superintelligent AI emerging eventually, an AI far smarter than any human,
Right.
and the critical importance of making sure its goals, its values are aligned with ours.
Right, the alignment problem.
Exactly. That's a huge area of research and debate right now in the AI safety community.
Yeah, that's definitely a point that gives you pause. The idea of creating something potentially way smarter than us that might not, inherently share our worldview or goals,
Yeah.
it feels both incredible and, yeah, a little unsettling. But then, on the flip side, the potential upside of AGI, areas like science, medicine, people are talking about huge advancements there too, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely. The potential for breakthroughs across basically all scientific fields, it's immense. Some estimates suggest AGI could speed up medical and scientific discovery by, well, not just years, but potentially centuries. Imagine what that means for understanding diseases, finding treatments, developing sustainable energy, tackling climate change, all these huge global challenges potentially solvable with that kind of intelligence boost.
It's almost hard to wrap your head around that scale of acceleration. But it also really highlights why we need to be so thoughtful about developing and deploying AGI. It really feels like we're on the verge of something revolutionary, and we need to handle this transition carefully.
Precisely. And that's why you see this growing emphasis from experts on robust research into AI safety, on developing sensible regulations, and also on focusing on cultivating those uniquely human skills, creativity, critical thinking, emotional intelligence, things that are inherently hard for AI to replicate. The goal isn't to stop innovation, of course, but to steer it. Steer it in a way that maximizes the benefits for society while minimizing the potential risks.
So, pulling all this together,
Yeah.
it really sounds like we could be looking at a fundamental shift, not just in technology, but in our very understanding of intelligence, maybe even our place in the world.
Yeah, if you connect it to the deepest implications, it really does point towards transformative change. In our whole relationship with intelligence, with autonomy, it goes way beyond just new tech. It gets into these profound questions about, well, what it means to be human in a future where machines can think at, or maybe even beyond our level.
Well, this has certainly given us, and hopefully you, a lot to chew on. Thinking about these rapid advancements, these different predictions about the near future of AI, here's a final thought for you, our listener. Considering this potential for AI to reach human-level intelligence, maybe even within the next few years, what specific human capabilities do you believe will remain uniquely valuable, perhaps even become more crucial in a world increasingly shared with intelligent machines?